Hey guys, so this is kind of a weird idea, very retrospective and kind of, if I could, type of content, I guess you could say. So I think for anyone who comes over here, especially if your original intent is to stay long term, which mine was, like I bought a one-way ticket. I had no concrete plans of ever returning to the U.S. and so that marks my the beginning of my life over here is a very significant point. It was like, okay, wake up, start life in Japan, and I think I've made it pretty clear in the videos I posted that it's been a pretty much constant process of trying to improve on what is a difficult situation. Just because when you come over here to rural Japan, you are essentially cutting yourself off from the majority of the opportunity that you left behind. It's different in an English-speaking country. Like if you were to move from the United States to Canada or England or Australia, those countries have so much in common culturally and linguistically that there'll be a few hiccups, sure. I mean, I've spent some time in England. I'm not saying it's it's easy, but it is definitely easier, socially speaking, and I would also guess in terms of like opportunities available in regard to employment and so on and so forth. So entertainment as well. Japan is not a very liberal place. So I come from Seattle, and need I say more? Although politically I'm pretty much like a centralist. I don't really subscribe to the far left or the far right. So that's all I'll say about that. Anyways, so now looking back 13 years later, I'm finally transitioning out of English teaching. Not permanently, actually. My boss from the university actually stopped by my school last Friday. Really decent dude, Canadian guy. And we just talked about this next term. So I'll probably teach one, maybe two classes a week, which it's a good reason to get out of the house and a bit of pocket money. You know, I'm really at the age where I really need to start saving, and that's another reason why I'm trying to get into software development, or actually I am in software development, is because the potential for income is roughly double to triple that of owning your own English school. Roughly. There's some other factors to consider. Anyways, so if I could go back to day one when I came here, I actually arrived at the night, so night one. Well, we'll just say the next morning, day one. That was a crazy morning, waking up, and most of us, I think, we have that initial sense of disorientation where it's like, okay, what day is it? What room am I in? What am I doing? And then so on and so forth. You kind of like, your brain kind of boots in the morning, right? And I remember just being like, hold on a second. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh, whoa, I'm in Japan. I was remembering like I flew in and opened my eyes. Oh, it's Japan. Don't speak any Japanese. My wife was on her way out the door to work, and I was living with her parents. We were living with her parents. And man, I remember sitting down at the kitchen table, and it was winter, and our living room's on the second story, so I could see out a little bit over the valley, and it was just brown trees and gray skies, and there were two hawks circling around, and it's just like, this is really, really, really intense. Like, I don't have a job, I don't have any money, I don't know anybody, and I don't know how to talk to people. It was just a weird, like, very like stark introduction. So if I could go back to that morning, I would still study Japanese. I think that's crucial if you're going to live over here. I think you're doing yourself a disservice if you're going to stay here any longer than say like 3 years by not studying Japanese. And it's also, to me, I feel like it's a bit disrespectful, and that's because if you expect to be a part of the society, and people have different opinions about that. It is a difficult language to learn, but if you expect them to learn English, but they're doing their once a week classes, I mean, the least you can do is just build up a passing level of conversational ability. So I would definitely have continued to do that. I might actually have studied more intensely earlier on, actually, just because the more Japanese ability you have, the more able you are to respond to any types of opportunities. but I don't think I would have gone into teaching quite so hard. I think I would have gone into software development. I think looking back, I think that would have been the smartest thing to do. And actually, back in 2007, if I had been good enough, if I'd spent like a couple of years getting good enough, I probably would have started trying to sell some kind of software products. These days, I mean, I've spoken to like old school software guys, and they're like, yeah, these days it's a lot harder just because the market is so saturated and there's so much talent out there, and a lot of the really good products have a massive market share. But I think I would have tried to have gone for something like that, where it was online based, um, and remote. I think now with COVID, the COVID crisis, I think more and more people are turning to remote work, but it really is ideal because you cut out so much of the extra time and energy involved in working, and it makes you a lot more productive. And because you're being a lot more productive, you're enjoying things a lot more. And because you do have all that that time loss from commuting um, absent from your life, you also get a lot more done in your personal life. So I've got like 4 more months here. Um, Kind of balancing both jobs, which is something I've done before. I've worked every day for long stretches before. But I'm really looking forward to just like starting at 7 in the morning, being on call, coding, answer student questions, finishing at 3, and that's it. That's gonna be beautiful. And I think another thing you want to be really careful about in Japan is buying property. There are very, 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 very few places in this country where it will ever appreciate. You're way better off renting. We I came here, so I think it was less than a year after I came here. My wife and I, well, she applied for a mortgage for a condominium. It's a beautiful place. It's one of the nicer one of the nicer buildings in the area. Um, we're on the 10th floor, and it's an amazing view. We got really lucky with it, and it's not like $1 million condo. Like if this same place were in Seattle, it would easily be a couple $1 million. But the problem is it's small for 5 people, and we're losing money on it. We're not going to be able to sell it anywhere near for what we bought it for. We would be lucky to break even on what we owe, and probably more realistically, we'd actually lose money on selling it, which is a bummer. But it's not that expensive, I mean, I think my brother back in Seattle, he's paying almost 3 times what we pay for rent. And what we pay also includes like a management fee where they kind of clean the place up and replace stuff, and so it's not that bad. But I think essentially what I'm trying to say here is if I could go back to the beginning of my life over here, I would make it so that I could just as easily get on a plane and go back to America or anywhere else in the world without a bunch of upheaval. Because the more invested you are in property and businesses, brick and mortar businesses abroad, the more you're weighed down, So yeah, we've got this house, but it's we're 10 years into 11 years into a 30-year mortgage, and although we might lose money on it, it's pretty much guaranteed someone would buy it just because of the location and stuff. But yeah, I didn't really think ahead at all about coming to Japan. I was just like, oh, I want to stay with my girl, and we're gonna go. And my dad moved from England to the U.S., and he's encouraging me to go from the U.S. to Japan. So why not? And then you get there and you start kind of putting things together, but it's so overwhelming, and there's so much to kind of deal with that it's very, very hard to think clearly, basically. And I've said before, the other jobs I worked here, it was just like a lot of stress and politics, and that can really cloud your thinking too. So this school has provided kind of a tunnel out of all of that, so to speak, so you can start to see the light of day and not be not have so much of your time and energy just taken away by really unproductive, negative, unpleasant things. So that's good. I've been very glad for that. So today's the 26th. I think hang about here. I think it's next Tuesday is when I pass out the flyers. Yeah, next Tuesday. So that's going to be big news for everybody, I think. I'm just going to tell them, like, hey, I wasn't sure if this was going to come through. It came through. I'm trying to give you guys as much notice as possible. Please understand. I don't think people are going to start quitting because that's a very common convention in Japan to kind of end something at the end of March and start it at the beginning of April. So it's pretty ideal, actually. But I think some of the kids will be a little bit sad, and some of the parents will be like, "Dang it, where are we going to find another English school?" Because they've been pretty happy with it. I'm so buried in the daily details of it and kind of getting through it all that it's I fail to see that sometimes, that like the parents, they really are happy that this school is here, and they really feel like they're getting a lot out of it, and their kids are getting a decent exposure to English, and they are, by the Japanese Eikaiwa ESL standards, they are definitely. But it's just like after a while you're just like, another class, holy smokes, another week, another month, another year. So hopefully they'll understand that. I tried to make it clear in the letter. Actually, maybe I'll just read it. Why not? Heck, why not? What did I call it? Sayonara letter, I think it was. Let me find it here. Google Docs is awesome, by the way. I almost never use Microsoft Word anymore because it's just weird to deal with. It stays on your computer and breaks all the time, and just finicky, shuts off. All right, so this is what I told them in English. To all students and parents, an important development has occurred in my life that I feel I must share with you. I have been offered a job as a programming teacher by a small company based in Los Angeles, California. Although the position is remote and will allow me to continue living here in Tokushima with my family, it will require too much time and responsibility for me to continue running my English school. And so it is with some sadness that as of April 2021, I will be passing the school on to a new teacher and owner. I will do my very best to find the absolute most qualified person for the job. I will also be spending as much time as possible in class together with the students and the new teacher to ensure that they are able to continue learning and growing as they have been these past 6+ years. Got a typo there. And I will do that. I really want to find someone. I winked just because, I don't know, spontaneous. Somebody just emailed me. If I am unable to find a suitable replacement for myself, I will be forced to close the school. Please understand, this is not a decision I've made lightly. Whatever the final result may be, I will inform all students and parents by the end of February 2021. So give them some time to say, hey guys, new teachers coming in, or the school is closing on the end of next month. It has been an unbelievable experience working with all of you. Really has, and looking back, it's like, wow, I did it, and you guys made it happen is the most important part. You can't ever overlook the importance of community and the reputable business reputation, and people can say, like, yeah, he actually really cares about his clients and he does right by them. Because if you don't have that, you're not gonna get anywhere. You're gonna end up, you're just like another Facebook scammer. Anyways, okay. I have seen so many local children learn and grow, and I have done my best to always be there for you and the community. I feel this school has really become a part of the community, and my dream is to see that continue, even if I can no longer remain a part of it, right? Like, how cool would it be if the school is like still here 10 years, 20 years from now, and the kids, the puppies are still coming here with their little backpacks. But the thing is, I don't want to be 58 years old and doing this. I want to be, wealthy by that time, and have my days filled with creative challenges, and be like, yeah, I'm going to go to America next month. And, anyways, Continuing, all of you have been so supportive of me. They really have. Like, you think about it, you know, who's this American guy? You have helped me and my family more than I can ever say, which is true. My quality of life, my income has never been better during my life in Japan as it is now. Than it is now. Although it goes up and down a bit too much, to be honest. What else I say? And I will never ever forget you. That's also very true. You do form a bond with the kids, undeniably. I don't know, there's something about children, they naturally, they bond with people that are trying to help them and paying attention to them and making sure they're doing okay. So that's been really cool. Yeah, it's just so boring is the problem. I'd rather be teaching them something, anything really that they're interested in. But I managed to keep them coming week after week, teaching English, which is not easily done. Any ESL teacher out there can tell you like just how difficult it can be to teach kids. Continuing, I can still remember the first day I opened and how many emotions and fears I had. Yeah, that was crazy coming in. Beautiful brand new school, no students, and just this constant preoccupation with money. Like, Jesus God, I hope people sign up. You know, it was. It wasn't like it's hard to explain. It's just this ever-present sense of pressure that it took about. I don't know. About a year to fully subside, but started to dissipate within the first 6 months or so. Continuing, but with your support and kindness, I was able to succeed. And that is a kindness I can never repay. I've learned so much since starting this school, and it makes me very sad that I can no longer be a part of it. And that's true. I mean, you invest that much of your life in something, and you watch these little guys get bigger, you know, and they form their little friendships, and you can kind of tell that it's a part of their lives, you know. And I did succeed, you know, in as much as you can with a small English school in a small city in Japan. You know, it's making me a living, and it's a better living than I would be making working for someone else doing the same job. So by that criteria, I'd say it's successful. So there's that. And you know, I would like to continue to be a part of it. Like, oh, Trevor Sensei's here, but it's just not realistic. Too much could blow up in my face if I commit to this software job and then try to hire someone. I've seen it happen, I've heard of it happening, and it's not pretty. And it's not something you want to have to clean up after. Okay, next. Life is full of change, and it is also very short, unfortunately, right? I mean, I've already been over here 13 years, looking at 40 by the time I turn around. So I feel that taking this new job opportunity will be the best choice for my future, right? Because you got to think about that stuff, you know? I mean, I don't know, like, what do like Eikaiwa teachers in their 50s and 60s do after a certain point? I guess they just save a lot of money and move simply, or I don't know. I continue saying this is really the most important part is, you know, I often miss my country and my life there, so this type of work will help me reconnect with it. You know, it's a little bit weird sometimes being like the only foreign guy in the area, is just working by myself. You know, it's doing well and stuff, but psychologically sometimes I'm like, wow, dude, this is like what you're doing and you're involved in. This is heavy. It's a heavy commitment, and you're doing it. But man, like, how do you feel about it? You know, sometimes. So I really want to be reconnected to America, basically. Living in Japan is great. It's safe, cheap, way full. Like, oh my God, is it cheap compared to the U.S.? It can be a little bit weird sometimes. You know, you deal with people's cognitive biases, shall we say, and you know, there's a lot that you can't do here that you can do back home. It's the countryside, so got that going on. But other than that, you know, it's not too bad. You gotta have a bit of a thick skin. And living over here and combined with then starting and running my own business has definitely given me a thick skin. I used to stress out about like the smallest little things, and now I'm just like, you know what, time's gonna pass, it's gonna go away. If you can't do anything about it, don't don't think about it. Don't be a jerk about it. You don't want to be arrogant and like I don't care, I'm tough. But um, at the same time, you don't want to spend your days groveling and filled with regret and guilt and paranoia. It's no good. Um, so I just finished saying, thank you for all our time and memories together. Very best, Trevor. So I think that's fair. I think the students would appreciate that. Um, I'm not trying to pull anything on them, like I'm going to get a new teacher, but really I'm getting a new owner or anything. I'm just saying, this is what's happened. I'm at this fork in the road. I've got about 4 months before I choose a direction. And both directions are kind of out of my control. It's either I can find a teacher or I can't. And if I can't, that's that. Well, like I said, I'm pretty optimistic. I think so. End of February, that's 3 months. I think that's a pretty good time frame to get someone locked in. It's a great opportunity for the right person. Someone who really wants to have their own school and the freedom that brings. I'm sure there's somebody out there. So we'll see. That's that. I'll finish here. The video already went over 20 minutes. Look at that. Holy smokes.